All right, guys, now that you've seen what not to do when you paint, let's talk about using good painting procedures. So today we're going to be painting lines, and you're going to be painting lines that go all the way from one side of your page to the other, and from the top all the way to the bottom. You can paint any kinds of lines that you want, and if you're not sure what kinds of lines there are that you could paint, if you look on the walls of the room or the floors of the art room, you will see lots and lots of examples of different types of lines. So when we paint, every table has a tray that has a water bowl in it, and you've got one side with water and one side with a sponge. The water is to get your paints wet and for washing out your brush. The sponge is to wipe your brush and make sure that it's clean. So with tempera cakes, which is what we're using today, these are paint cakes, you have to get the paints wet before you can do anything else. Now remember, I am holding my paints up so you can see them, but if your paints are on the tray, you need to leave them on the tray. Don't be picking up your water bowls or your paint bowls as you work today. So if you notice, I'm having to get some water into my paints to wake them up. We got to wake those paints up. Now that it's wet, I can set it down and I'm ready to paint. Now the first thing to remember when you paint, you can hold your brush close to the end, just like you would if it were a pencil. You can hold it a little further up on the handle of the brush if that's more comfortable for you. I like to hold it somewhere closer to the end because then I get this more painterly style when I paint. Remember, your brush is made up of the bristles, that's the hair part at the end, the bracket, that's the silver part, and then the handle. Now, as I paint, I want to make sure I stay on the very tips of my brush of those bristles. That is what we call the tippy toes of the brush. So just tippy toe across the page. And you notice I'm going from one side all the way to the other. I like to think of my brush as a ballerina. We always want the ballerina to twirl and twist on her tippy toes. What we do not want, and let me show you what we do not want, is for our ballerina to scoot around on her booty, because nobody wants to go to the booty scooting ballet. We want to go see a beautiful dancer that tippy toes across the stage. All right, so I got one set of lines. Now it's time to get a new color, because I don't want to have all green lines on my page. So to clean your brush, what I always say works best is to take that brush and smush it down into the bottom of the water bowl. Really scrub it on the bottom good, swirl it around, and then wipe on the sponge in an X. So wipe, wipe. If your sponge still has paint on it, then you have to do it again. So I have to swish it on the bottom, wipe, wipe. Oh, no paint color that time, so I know my paintbrush is ready and clean for the next color. Let's do a yellow this time. Remember, I've got to get some water in there to activate and wake up that paint. There we go. It's all woke up, because remember, paint cakes are kind of like watercolors and how they work. And then I would go to my water, swish it and mash it on the bottom. Wipe, wipe. Let's do some red. And you guys can do any colors you want, just as long as you are using different types of lines and you're painting all the way from the top, wipe, wipe, to the bottom of your page. For those of us that get done early, because some of you will finish all the way, all your lines from the top to the bottom pretty early in class. Let me show you what to do when you get done with all the different lines all the way from top to bottom. let's say I'm totally done, which I almost am. Let's get one more real quick. Do-do-do-do. Da-da-da. We'll do a dotted line. Whew, okay. When you're totally done, you can add to it by making some smaller lines and details in between. So for instance, I might do some straight lines in between two of my other lines. Remember, if it gets hard to paint, you need more water on your brush and more paint. Okay? I might choose to do different types of lines. Maybe I want to do some smaller zigzaggy lines in between some of my lines. Okay, so remember, if you get done early, you simply add smaller lines to create some details to your painting. All right, guys, that is it for today. Enjoy painting and get started.